Okay, so it's about 3 minutes after 5 now, so I think we'll get going and as people come in. So I am Gemma Charlebois. I am with MTE Consultants, and we've been retained by the County of Oxford to conduct the Drumbo Wastewater Treatment Plant capacity expansion Municipal Class Environmental Assessment. This is the second of two public consultation centers. And this particular study is about increasing the wastewater treatment plant's hydraulic capacity from its current capacity of 450 cubic meters a day to approximately 660 cubic meters a day. Also, as part of this presentation is various members of the county, and they will be available for your questions at the end of the presentation. So just a few housekeeping items during the presentation. This presentation is being recorded and it will be posted to the Oxford County website at the link shown on the screen. Your microphone and video have been turned off. The chat function, however, is not available to attendees, so please ignore that statement on the screen. Do, however, use the Q&A button to put forward a question to presenters, and we will answer those questions after the presentation. And we will answer them in the order that they come in. Additionally, you can ask the question during this meeting, and it will be part of the recorded transcript. You can also submit comments via email or phone call. So Andrew Stewart is the project manager for Oxford County for this project. And his contact information is listed on the screen, and mine is as well. You can also leave a comment or a question at the Oxford Speak Up Oxford webpage, and the QR code is also shown on the screen. We give generally about a 2-week comment period following public consultation centers. So you'll see that basically until about the end of May would be the time when we would actively be looking for your comments and questions. Okay, so as I had mentioned, this is the second of 2 public consultation centers. So we are, in the middle of the process, I guess you could say. This slide here identifies the process of a typical environmental assessment study. And to familiarize yourself, in case you were not present for the first one, it consists of identifying a problem or an opportunity, conducting field investigations necessary to establish what information you need to know, developing some alternative solutions to that problem or opportunity, conducting the first public consultation center, and then from that feedback from various stakeholders, a preferred alternative was selected from the number of alternative solutions. And then phase 6 is to develop design options, so technical options for that preferred alternative. And phase 7 is the second of the 2 public consultation centers. And then again, following stakeholder feedback and your comments, we will be selecting the preferred design option. And then from there, the environmental study report will be prepared and submitted to the MECP, again with a public comment period. So to recap on the opportunity statement for this particular project, the desire was to increase the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant to above 600 cubic meters a day in order to determine the most appropriate solution for supporting an increase in wastewater servicing needs within the village of Drumbo in the township. And to support that particular opportunity or problem statement, we conducted a number of field investigations and outreach. So we had a commitment letter from Oxford County, which was provided to the MECP, that as a condition of this project, the effluent discharge at the current outfall location of the wastewater treatment plant would not exceed 660 cubic meters a day. And this was provided in November of 2024. We also completed a species at risk investigation at the outfall location. This was completed in September of last year. And the results of that investigation was that there was no potential for adverse effect on the species at risk. From there, we developed 3 alternative solutions. The first one is to do nothing, and that is a standard option as part of the EA process. It allows proponents to evaluate whether not doing anything would be preferable in a number of metrics to actually doing something. The second alternative was to add more MBR cassettes, which is a membrane bioreactor, is what MBR stands for, to the existing process to achieve maximum discharge up to 660 cubic meters a day. And the third alternative was to expand the existing wastewater treatment plant, which would include a new outfall location and have that capacity be greater than the 660, so up to 1,200 cubic meters a day. And so the first public consultation center was held in February, and the preferred alternative that was selected was alternative 2, which was to add more cassettes to the existing process. So essentially expand upon the existing process. So this is the same slide as I originally put up. So as I had mentioned earlier, where we are now is at phase 6. So we have developed design options for the preferred alternative. And so we are conducting the second of the 2 public consultation centers to present those to you and receive your feedback. So in evaluating which design options for the preferred alternative would be best, we developed a number of evaluation criteria. There were 3 evaluation criteria for this particular selection, and that was on a technical level, a financial, and an environmental. And I did put a little note on this slide that given that the preferred alternative was to expand the existing process, It does not, however, mean that there's an expansion to the wastewater treatment plant footprint itself. And due to that, we did not believe that there were any social or cultural aspects to the preferred alternative, and such, those criteria do not figure into evaluating the design options. So I'll go through the considerations for each of those criteria. From a technical standpoint, reliability of the system, resilience of the system to any adverse impacts, and its ease of operation and maintenance were key considerations, as well as its constructability and implementation, utilizing existing infrastructure to facilitate the solution, and also what operator training requirements and skill would be required. Financially, capital costs are obviously a key one, but also operation and maintenance costs and any additional operational labor costs. Environmental factors would be the energy efficiency of any of the design options, whether there's an increase or decrease of greenhouse gas emissions, and its impact on the effluent quality. So basically the concentrations of measured parameters in the effluent wastewater going to the outfall location. And generally speaking, they were weighted similarly, with financial being one of the largest consideration, but followed closely by technical and environmental considerations. So this slide here shows you how we graded the design options, but I will go through to say that the first design option considered was to expand the existing process trains. So that's to add the ZWEAD 500D ultrafiltration membrane cassettes. So those membrane cassettes are what was mentioned earlier as part of the membrane bioreactor cassettes. So this is what is installed at the wastewater treatment plant right now. And so this design option would be to expand that through the addition of more cassettes. And design option 2 would be to have a new treatment train to the existing process train. So right now we have the existing process being the ZWEAD 500 ultrafiltration membranes. And option 2 would be to have a new treatment train. So that would be something analogous, so a clarifier and a tertiary filtration system, for instance. And then design option 3 would be to install a new, different membrane technology than the one that is currently in place right now. So on all metrics, all 3 of the evaluation criteria, design option 1 was favored, and for a variety of reasons, which I will get into in the next slide. Oh, well, it'll be the next slide after this one. So this is a pictorial representation. So you have a visual idea of what that looks like in terms of the membrane cassettes that you can see the picture on the right of the slide. And then on the left, that's giving an overview of the Drumbo Wastewater Treatment Plant's process in schematic form. So this is what I was going to mention in terms of the reasonings for why this option was graded higher than the other two. Technically speaking, it is quite reliable. It consistently meets its effluent limits and effluent objectives. The operation and maintenance effort would be slightly greater due to it being of greater capacity, but not significantly, because it is adding to existing infrastructure. No construction required, meaning no construction in the form of additional buildings or even within the footprint of new tanks. So this is adding cassettes to the existing treatment trains, utilizing that existing infrastructure. And because the operators are quite familiar with the system and have been operating it for a few years now, any additional operator training would be fairly minimal. So when the system was originally designed, it was designed with expansion in mind when it was originally converted from an SBR to an MBR system. And it was intended to accommodate that capacity expansion without the need to construct additional tanks or buildings. Financially speaking, due to the reasons I mentioned, it would have the lowest capital costs because of that lack of additional tankage and use of existing infrastructure. And it would have the lowest operation and maintenance costs as well. The labor costs would be slightly higher than existing due to a greater capacity system, but this would be the lowest increase in staffing costs as compared to the other alternatives. Again, this being because it's an addition to existing infrastructure. From an environmental standpoint, the amount of energy used would be proportionately less, because if we look at it from a standpoint of cubic meters of wastewater treated, it would be less unit energy per cubic meter. And the greenhouse gas emissions we would estimate to be proportional to what is currently emitted by the wastewater treatment plant right now. It is also worth noting that the system currently produces exceptional effluent quality with the existing system in place. The TSS, total suspended solids, and BOD, biological oxygen demand loadings, were less than 20% of their effluent limits in 2025. Total phosphorus was less than 30% of its effluent limit, and the total ammonia loadings were less than 3% of its effluent limit. So this is consistently being well below or below the limit set by the MECP for this system, and so it is performing quite well. So environmentally, it already has a track record of having performed exceptionally. So today is May 12th, so the date of this public consultation center. And so this is our next steps in the EA process. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we do have a 2-week period, comment period. And there are many ways that you can provide your comments outside of this meeting, but of course you can provide them within the meeting as well. And then in the spring, so in the next few weeks, we will be selecting a preferred design option based on stakeholder comments and feedback. And then in the summer of this year, we will be preparing the environmental study report for submission to the MECP. And once that draft has been submitted, there will be a 30-day comment period, and then a final report will be posted. So that is the plan for the following stages of this study. So this slide here is to show you again the many ways that you can provide your comments or ask questions. You can submit an email or phone call to myself or Andrew. Again, the QR code is listed there. And also there's an opportunity to post comments on Speak Up Oxford, and this presentation will also be recorded and posted there as well. So at this time, we'll open it up to any questions. So I'll just ask Zen if there's any questions in the Q&A.
No, not at this moment. I'm not seeing any. Nothing at this moment.
Okay, if there is no questions, then we will complete the presentation then. And again, if you have any questions, please do feel free to use the various means to provide them. Or again, also comments are welcome as well on the design options that have been presented. So thank you very much for your interest, and we will be staying on the line if anyone does have any questions in the next few minutes.
I just wanted to add from the county, thank you very much for the presentation, Gemma. And yeah, we'll be available sticking around online for anyone that does join up to 7 o'clock. I will direct them to the presentation that will be available on our Speak Up Oxford page. But thanks everyone for your attendance.